The Galactic Council's ship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star, its hull gleaming with the pride of 1,000 conquered worlds. Ambassador Thexlar of the Vrathnii Empire stepped onto the landing platform at Edwards Air Force Base, his 4 eyes scanning the gathered human delegation with barely concealed contempt. Humans, his translator crackled, the void plague spreads across the outer rim. 17 colonies have fallen. Your world has been selected to provide 1 hunter for the grand expedition. Choose your finest warrior. General Marcus Reeves stepped forward, his uniform crisp despite the desert heat. We've prepared our candidate, Ambassador. Though I should warn you. Warnings are for the weak, Thexlar interrupted. Bring forth your champion. What emerged from the hangar was not what the ambassador expected. Jake Morrison shuffled onto the tarmac wearing a faded band t-shirt, ripped jeans, and headphones around his neck. His shaggy brown hair fell into his eyes, and he carried a worn backpack over one shoulder. He was chewing gum. This? Thexlar's translator nearly short-circuited with indignation. This child is your offering? Jake looked up, unimpressed. I'm 17, dude. And I was supposed to have the weekend off, so can we make this quick? The general cleared his throat. Jake Morrison. Top graduate of the Wilderness Survival Program. Youngest person to complete the Appalachian Trail solo. Has tracked and documented every apex predator in North America. And I really don't want to be here, Jake finished, examining his fingernails. Thexlar's mandibles clicked in fury. The Council sends its finest, Krokor the Destructor, who has slain the ice WIRMS of Frostheim. Uriana Swiftblade, tracker of the shadow beasts of Nyx. And your contribution is this disrespectful whelp? Jake finally looked directly at the alien. Look, Mr. Four Eyes, I get that you're having a moment here, but either take me or don't. I've got a biology exam on Monday. 24 hours later, Jake found himself aboard the Eternal Triumph, flagship of the hunting expedition, surrounded by the galaxy's most fearsome predators turned hunters. The ship's recreational deck had been converted into a command center, where holographic displays showed the void plague spread like a cancer across star charts. Krokor, a 9-foot-tall reptilian covered in ceremonial scars, slammed his fist on the table. The human stays on the ship. He will only slow us when we make planetfall on Zerith, 7. Agreed, hissed Uriana, her blade-like fingers tapping an impatient rhythm. This is no place for children. Jake, slouched in a chair with his feet on the table, didn't even look up from his datapad. Cool. Wake me when we get there. The first landing on Zerith, 7 was a disaster. The elite hunters deployed with full ceremony, their weapons gleaming, their armor polished to perfection. They marched into the purple jungle with the confidence of apex predators. They lasted 47 minutes. Krokor triggered 3 biotoxin traps. Uriana's thermal signature attracted a swarm of heat-seeking parasites that nearly melted her armor. The Zypharian twins, famous for their psychic tracking abilities, walked straight into a nest of Sinul predators that they literally couldn't sense. They retreated in chaos, dragging their wounded. Jake watched from the ship's viewport, shaking his head. Amateurs. You dare, Krokor began, purple blood oozing from a gash in his armor. You stomped in there like you owned the place, Jake interrupted, finally standing. Making noise, leaving a trail a blind kid could follow, broadcasting your heat signatures like Christmas lights. You treated it like a sport hunt. This isn't sport. This is survival. Then show us, human, Uriana challenged, her voice dripping with venom. Jake shrugged. Fine. But we do this my way. He discarded their high-tech sensors and energy weapons, instead grabbing a simple compound bow, a knife, and some basic climbing gear from Earth supplies. No armor. No shields. Just a teenager in cargo pants and hiking boots. You're insane, Thexlar observed from the command deck. Maybe, Jake replied. But I'm going down there anyway. You coming or not? What followed became legend in galactic hunting circles. Jake moved through Zereth 7's jungle like a ghost. He read the terrain, broken branches here, disturbed soil there. He tracked the void-plagued creatures not by technology, but by understanding predator behavior. Where the elite hunters had charged, Jake waited. Where they had fought, Jake avoided. Where they had followed their sensors, Jake followed his instincts. The creatures are most active at dusk, he whispered into his comm, watching from a camouflaged position high in the canopy. They hunt by vibration, not sight. Your energy shields create a resonance they can detect from miles away. Impossible, Krokor protested. Our sensors show. Your sensors are why they keep finding you, Jake cut him off. Now shut up and watch. He had identified the plague's origin point within 6 hours, a corrupted spawning pool that the creatures used to reproduce. While the galaxy's finest debated strategy and consulted their tactical AIs, Jake simply observed the creatures' patterns, noted their blind spots, and found the weak point in their defensive formations. The actual infiltration took 12 minutes. Jake moved between patrols with practiced ease, using nothing but timing and an understanding of how predators think. He planted the thermobaric charges they'd need to destroy the spawning pool, set them on a timer, and was back in the ship before the elite hunters had finished arguing about approach vectors. The explosion lit up Zereth 7's night sky like a small sun. When the smoke cleared, the void-plagued creatures were in chaos, their reproduction cycle broken, their coordinated attacks falling apart. How? Yuriana demanded, her pride shattered. We trained for decades. You're a child with primitive weapons. Jake took a long drink from his water bottle before answering. You trained to be hunters. I grew up in a world where humans were the prey. You know what we called the most dangerous predators on Earth? Weekends. You learn different when you have to. Over the next 3 weeks, Jake cleared 4 more infected worlds while the galactic elite watched and learned. He taught them to read animal behavior, to move with the environment instead of against it, to think like prey when necessary and predators when possible. On the journey home, Thexlar approached Jake in the observation deck. The Council wishes to offer you the rank of Master Hunter. The youngest in galactic history. Jake didn't look up from the stars. That's nice and all, but I really do have that biology exam. And my mom's gonna kill me if I miss it. You saved billions of lives. You revolutionized our understanding of hunting. And you care about a test. For the first time, Jake smiled, a real smile, not the smirk he usually wore. Mr. Ambassador, that's the thing you never got about humans. We don't survive because we're the strongest or the fastest or the most advanced. We survive because we care about the small stuff. Family dinners. Monday exams. Weekend plans. That's what makes us fight so hard for everything else. He stood and stretched. Besides, Mrs. Rodriguez gives pop quizzes, and I'm not about to let Tyler Matthews beat my grade point average just because I was off saving the galaxy. Thexlar watched the grumpy teenager shuffle away, hands in his pockets, and for the first time in his diplomatic career, he smiled. The galaxy had sent its elite hunters. Earth had sent a kid who just wanted his weekend back. And somehow, that had made all the difference.